Hello guys. So one of the students that I was tutoring had this assignment, and we went through it, and I thought this would be a really good information to share with you because it has a lot of good modeling techniques in it. So he was asked to model this helicopter following all these instructions, and it has a lot of good modeling techniques in it, like the sweep, the loft, and I just feel like if you're trying to learn SolidWorks, this is a good exercise to do to help you learn SolidWorks. So I just wanted to share with you guys. So in the beginning of this document, it has all this instruction. The main important thing that I'm going to point out is we're just going to look at the requirements, and I'm going to maximize this a little bit. So the requirements, it says identify the origin, the unit is MKS, and all sketch should be fully defined. And I think I will make a separate video about a fully defined sketch, what a fully defined sketch is and what an undefined sketch is, because the student I was tutoring didn't have a good concept of what both is. And so we're just going to start from there. So I'm going to just put this over here, and let's just start a new part file, and we are going to go into the units and change the units to MKS, which is up here, and click OK. And so now we're just going to scroll down, and the instructor does provide like some basic some dimensions, and it wants the students to just go with start with this loft profile and just work their way until the entire helicopter is built. And that's the same thing we're going to do. So this is the middle profile. So on the front plane, we are going to draw a sketch, and I'm just going to move this over here. So this is the middle profile, so we need to draw something like this. So start with like a midpoint line, not a midpoint line, just draw a line from here coming out, and another line somewhere over here, and click this line and this origin point and make it coincident, and make this two line construction line. And now we are just going to draw a box, not a center box, but a corner rectangle. So draw something like this and put it over here, and we are going to select this point and that line and make it coincident. Select this point and that line, make it coincident. Select this point and that line and make it coincident. Select this horizontal line over here and just delete it, and select the horizontal line over the relation and delete it, because if you look, this line is not horizontal, it bends over. So I'm just going to bend it a little bit, and we're just going to add some dimension. This dimension for this line is 3.8, and the dimension from this line to this line is 2, and the dimension from this line to that line is 1.8, and the dimension for this line, this bottom line, is 3.5, and we have those dimensions. And let's see, and another thing we need to do is click this line, click the construction line, and click this line and make them symmetrical. So now our sketch is fully defined. All we need to do is add our radius. So come to fillet, add this, change the dimension to 0.6, and add the fillet to this corner. So the top corner is 0.6, so right here. So I'm going to add 0.6 and change my dimension again to 0.8, and 0.8 on this bottom corner, and click OK. And this sketch is fully defined. I'm just going to click OK, and we have our first sketch done. I'm just going to exit out of my sketch. So I have the two over here, so I'm just going to exit out of my sketch. And the next thing we're going to do is draw the front profile, which is right here, and this is extrude 6. So you come to feature, reference geometry, plane, and you want to come to this drop down, select the front plane and extrude it. The dimension will be 6, and over here you see how the scale, because we are working in MKS, you see how my sketch is so big compared to my plane. So a way you make your plane the same size as your sketch is if I right click on the front plane and I can press this auto size, and watch, the front plane gets as big as the sketch. So I can right click on all this plane and just auto size them, and they get big. So once I draw my sketch on this plane, I'll be able to right click on it and auto size it. So the plane one we just drew, click on it and sketch, normal 2, and on this one we're just going to draw a center rectangle. So center rectangle starting at the origin, just draw something like that. Make sure the points are not coincident with anything. The dimension is 3.8, and the dimension going down is 3.6. And if this sketch is a little bit confusing, you can right click over here and hide it, so that way what we're working on is the only thing showing. And we need to add our fillet size to it. So fillet, this fillet size is 0.4, and we're going to add it to this 4 corners, and click OK. And once our sketch is fully defined, we're going to just again exit out of, maybe I'll move this out of the way so I have access to this, and exit out of that sketch. And I'm just going to hide this plane because I don't like when the plane is in the way. So now we have 2 sketch. We have the middle profile sketch and the front sketch. So now we need to make the back sketch, and the dimension, the plane is offset from the origin point back 3.5. So we're just going to offset the plane back and draw this profile on it. So feature, reference geometry, plane, and we want to select the front plane, and this time we're going to flip the offset back, which is over there, and we are going to change the dimension to 3.5 and click OK. So now on this plane, we're going to draw a sketch. I'm going to go normal 2, just going to move it to the side. Again, I'm going to hide the plane and hide my previous sketch because I don't like them in the way. So what we're going to do is just draw 2 circles somewhere, something up here and something down here. Make sure this circle and this circle are vertical, and they are to the origin point, they also vertical to the origin point. And now draw a line from the origin point going up, just something like this, and make that line a construction line. Make that line a construction line, and I can move this up a little bit and draw 2 lines over here, and draw another line over here. Make sure this line and this circle is tangent, and make sure this line and this circle is also tangent. And now I can just use the extend and make sure they are touching, and I would trim this part off. And another line you can draw is a line from here, and the line is actually horizontal with the center point of this circle. So just draw something like that, and you can bring it over till it touches. And it's the same thing over here. Make sure this point and this point is horizontal, and you can just bring it in until I'll extend that, and I can bring this in until it touches. That's probably not the best way to do it, but just draw something like this. And I'm going to draw another line from here to here and make this line a horizontal line. So now, since I have the basic profile, I can just trim the this off, the excess stuff I don't need. I'm just going to trim it off and make this a construction line. And now I'm going to make sure this line, select the construction line, this line are symmetrical. And now I can start adding my dimension. The dimension for this, the radius for this arc is 0.4. The dimension from this point to this point is 0.6. The angle over here is 30, and the dimension from the origin point to this point is 1.2, and the dimension from this point to that point is also 1.2. Oops, no, 1.2. I'm just going to back up a little bit, and something is breaking. So before I had that 1.2, I'm just going to make sure I have some stuff defined. Maybe I'll pull this up a little bit, or what I can do is add my the distance for this arc. So I'll show you how to add the distance for the arc. So click on the dimension, click this point, click the center point, and click that last point, and you can add your arc distance, which is 160. And now I should be able to, maybe I can drag this up a little bit, then I should be able to add my 1.2 so stuff don't start exploding all over the place. So from that point, from this point to this point, let me unselect everything. From this point to this point is 1.2. There you go. Sometimes it's good to add your dimensions as you go, so what just happened doesn't happen where stuff just explodes all over the place. So make sure you have something like this, and once you're done, just exit out of the sketch. We have our sketch is fully defined, everything looks good. So I'm going to show all my three sketch. And now all we need is the professor wants them to loft this with the guide curve. So all we need now is a guide curve. So I'm going to click on the right plane and sketch, normal 2. I'm just going to move it over here, and I'm just going to draw a 3-point arc, something like this. Click the first point, click the second point, and click the third point. So what I would do is select this point and that line, pierce this line, this arc, and that point, make it coincident, and this point and this arc over here, and pierce it. So now I have a fully defined sketch. Exit out of that, click on the right plane again, and we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. So sketch, 3-point arc, just draw something like this. Select this point and that line, pierce, and select this arc and that point coincident, and select this point and that arc and pierce it. And now we have a fully defined sketch. So we have all the profile we need. So all we need to do is go to feature, loft, and we are going to loft. My guide curve is selected, but I'll delete it just to show you. So in the profile, we want to loft this sketch into this sketch into that sketch. Then we're going to come to this guide curve, and we're going to select that sketch and that profile, that sketch. Or another way you can select it is, if you can select it on the screen, you can click on this drop down, you can select it from the feature manager tree over there and click OK. And this feature is done, and I can hide my sketch. I really don't need them now. Moving on. So now the next thing that they are asked to do is draw this main propeller. So again, I'll click on the right plane, sketch, and this one will use the revolve to make this. So all we need to do is just draw a line from here So that's a construction line, and all we need to do is just draw this profile. So I'm going to draw a line coming up, and that line is 3.9, and the distance from the origin point to that propeller is probably somewhere up here. So let's go back, and right here the distance is if I zoom in so you can see it very well, the distance is 2.5. So I'm just going to minimize that. So from here to here is 2.5. Good. So let's go back to that profile and just draw the rest, and we're going to draw another line over here, something like that, and the distance is from this line to this line is 0.2. Move it up. I'm going to zoom in. 0.2, and oh, the 2.5 is right here. Actually, I didn't see. And you're gonna use an ellipse, and just draw an ellipse over here, something like this, and make sure this point and this line are coincident. And now we can add our dimension to the ellipse. It is from the center to this is 1.2, and from here to here is 0.25. So once we have that profile, we can just make that coincident. I'm just going to trim this. I'm going to back up, make sure everything is touching. So when you don't have stuff touching, that's when you won't be able to, the trim doesn't work. So instead of making this coincident, I'm just going to drag it up over here. And now I'm just going to use my trim tool, and I'm just going to, let me back up again. I'm not sure what's, oh, okay, over here I need to close that sketch so I can just draw another line. So make this line a construction line, because we need it to be a construction line. I'm just going to draw another line from here down, just to make sure that line is touching it fully. Then I'm going to use my trim tool, and now I can trim that part off. And let me move this over here so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to trim this part off, and we have a fully defined sketch. And I'm just going to close the sketch over here, and feature, revolve, and I'm going to revolve it by the center, by that center line, and click OK. Good. So we have the second part done, and scrolling down. So the next part is we need to draw the main propeller. So we have the sketch and the profile over here, and we just need to figure out the distance. So going back to this again, the propeller is 3 from the center line. So let's come to this sketch. So this one we are going to use the sweep tool. Come to your reference geometry plane, and on this drop down, we're going to select the top plane and offset it up 3, and click OK. And now we are going to select that new plane, plane 3, and sketch. Go normal 2, and now we're just going to draw a line. So if I hover over this, you see how the center point of it is showing. Click start your line from that center point, and just draw it coming out, and draw another line at the end at an angle, and add a dimension, make it 135. I'm gonna delete that dimension, add an angular dimension. Why is it doing that? I'm just gonna delete it. Try it again. Draw an angular dimension 135 degrees, and now I want to add my fillet to it. The fillet is 0.7, so fillet 0.7. I'm going to add it over here and click OK. So now we can add this dimension. It is 8. This line, the length of this line is 8, and the length of this line is 0.2. So we should have something like this, 8 and 0.2. So once that is done, exit out, and I'm going to hide this plane 3. I don't like the plane showing. I really don't need it. So come to the right plane and sketch and number 2. So now we are going to draw this angular 3-point center rectangle. So the way you draw it is you just click your first point, draw it at an angle, and drag it down. So we have something like that, and I'm just going to make sure the center point and the starting point of that line is coincident. So again, I go number 2, and I'm just gonna scroll down, and we have the dimensions over here. Let me zoom in because I can't really see it better. So this is 2, this is 1.2, and okay. The distance for this line is, so make sure it is aligned, your dimension is aligned. The distance is 1.2, and the distance for this is 0.12, and the distance from the bottom to the top is 0.85. So again, our sketch is fully defined, and we are just going to exit out. Come to your feature sweep. We want to sweep this as the profile, and we want to select the line as the part. So we're sweeping that across that and click OK. And once we have that feature, we just need to use the circular pattern to array it 4 times. So come to circular pattern, and because we really don't have any circular profile to select over here, so come to your view and show and hide and show temporary axis. So we have the axis. So in this perimeter, select this temporary axis. We are patterning it 4 times, equal spacing, and the feature we want to select is this sweep, and click OK. And now I have a pattern. I can just hide my temporary axis because I don't need it, and that's that. And let me move it to the side so you see what's going on. So we have that over there.